Hayona stands shivering in a snowstorm, her pink coat and winter hat barely shielding her from the biting cold. She crouches down, coughing violently as she struggles to breathe, her breath turning to mist in the frigid air. Frost clings to her eyelashes, and with a look of desperation, she whispers softly, her words lost to the howling wind. In the next moment, Hayona notices something that stops her in her tracks. Someone lying motionless on the icy ground. Her eyes widen in shock as she slowly approaches, realizing the person is barely conscious, shivering uncontrollably in the cold. Someone's face is twisted in pain, his breath shallow. Hayona's expression is filled with worry and urgency, her voice trembling with the cold and fear. Suddenly, from within the swirling snow, a mysterious hand reaches out towards her. She gasps, her eyes widening in shock as she instinctively recoils, caught off guard by this unexpected and eerie presence. Hayona, now sprawled on the icy ground, recoils. Han Feng reaches towards her with gloved hands. She scrambles to her feet in a panic, letting out a terrified scream as she sprints down the snow-covered hallway, her footsteps echoing loudly. Han Feng watches her retreat with a mix of surprise and amusement, noting how quickly she fled. He then encounters someone on the floor, who appears terrified and mutters something incoherent, prompting the protagonist to approach cautiously. The protagonist raises his foot, prepared to assert dominance, as the man below him desperately coughs and pleads for mercy, his voice shaky and panicked. In a defiant outburst, the man tries to reclaim some semblance of authority by asking if the protagonist knows who his father is, but his bravado is quickly shattered when the protagonist strikes him down without hesitation, dismissing the threat with a cold, unwavering resolve. The defiant man, still boasting about his father's influence, is abruptly cut off as the protagonist strikes him again, showing no regard for his connections. The man, now pleading desperately, raises his hand in a gesture of surrender, begging for mercy and questioning why the protagonist is targeting him, emphasizing that they have no personal enmity. The protagonist mercilessly punches the man, dismissing his pleas and demanding answers with a fierce intensity. The man, now pinned to the ground and repeatedly struck, cries out in despair, questioning why his life is being taken and why he deserves such a fate. As the protagonist's clenched, bloodied fist hovers menacingly, he urges the man to finally speak, his patience wearing thin as he prepares to deliver another blow. The battered man lies on the ground, barely conscious and mumbling incoherently, his body covered in bruises and blood. The protagonist calmly picks up a bloody bat, standing over the man with a cold expression, silently contemplating his next move as the tension in the air grows heavy. The defeated man, eyes filled with tears and blood spilling from his mouth, weakly pleads for a reason, desperate to understand why he's being treated so harshly. The protagonist, unmoved by his plea, coldly questions the need for a reason, before lifting him off the ground and brutally slamming him down, dismissing the man's begging as mere pretense in a final show of dominance and disdain. The protagonist stands over the lifeless body, gripping his weapon tightly, and angrily questions if the man had ever sought a reason when he was the one killing others. His breath visible in the cold, his demeanor unshaken and filled with grim resolve. The protagonist, visibly shaken and clutching his bleeding fist, breathes heavily as the weight of his actions begins to settle in. He collapses to his knees, overwhelmed by the intensity of the moment, while the echo of his desperate coughing fills the empty hallway, a stark reminder of the violent path he has chosen. As he struggles to regain his composure, he forces himself to rise, resolute but visibly burdened by the haunting reality of what he's done. As the protagonist turns, he notices a little girl sitting against the wall, calmly observing him with an unreadable expression. The little girl asks if he needs help, breaking the tense silence with an unexpected offer of assistance. In the safety room, the protagonist and the mysterious girl sit across from each other, the tension of their recent encounter still palpable. He expresses his unease at her calmness despite the terrifying events they just witnessed, suggesting it's too dangerous for her to stay with him due to the threat of retaliation from his enemies. She, unfazed, sips her drink calmly, seemingly indifferent to the dangers he warns about, adding a layer of mystery to her true intentions and identity. The young man urgently confronts the girl, insisting that her refusal to cooperate could put both of them in danger. Despite his warnings, the girl calmly responds that she wants to stay, showing her resolve even in the face of potential threats. The man, clearly frustrated, emphasizes the peril of their current location, warning that staying could lead to their deaths. The girl, showing unexpected determination, slams her glass tightly. The girl stands confidently, her expression calm as she assures the man that he doesn't need to worry, implying that a powerful force or entity known as the True Eye of the Dark King will aid them. Han Feng is surprised. As the girl walks away, she mentions that the Dark King's power is nearly depleted and that rest is necessary, leaving the man confused. Suddenly, he reaches out, grabbing her arm and urging her to wait, signaling his desperation to understand more. Frustrated, Han Feng pulls her closer, demanding that she stop using cryptic phrases and face the reality of their situation. The girl, unfazed and calm, barely reacts as he grips her jacket, maintaining her composed demeanor despite his growing agitation. The girl quietly opens the door, inviting Han Feng to enter as she glances back at him with a calm expression. She remains composed, turning the handle as if revealing a crucial decision that must be made. Peering through the slightly open door, the man questions her next move, his curiosity piqued by her mysterious behavior. His expression shifts to one of shock and disbelief as something beyond the door catches his eye, leaving him speechless and visibly shaken. The scene shifts to a dimly lit underground parking area, where signs direct people to stairs and elevators, all covered in eerie frost. A long line of residents waits patiently, bundled up against the cold, as they receive essential supplies from a distribution table, highlighting the desperate circumstances they face. Residents, bundled in thick winter gear, endure the freezing cold as they patiently line up for their rations, each face marked by the harsh conditions. A young woman, Hyuna, steps forward to receive her allocated supplies, confirming her apartment number to the distributor, who hands over her share with a nod of acknowledgement. As Hyuna steps back into line with her supplies, someone points out that another resident from the same apartment number had just collected rations, raising suspicions. Hyuna, lost in her thoughts, recalls a troubling scene where a man collapsed unexpectedly, questioning if someone had set a trap, possibly Han Feng's associates, hinting at deeper tensions and distrust among the community. Liu's eyes, warmth emanating from Han Feng's apartment, suggesting he has electricity and possibly other hidden resources. She ponders whether Han Feng had secretly prepared for the harsh winter in advance, suspecting that he might have stockpiled supplies, raising questions about his true intentions. Frustrated and angry, Hyuna clenches her fist around her ration, cursing Han Feng for secretly preparing for the cold without sharing or informing her, leaving her with worthless scraps. Determined to uncover the truth, she swiftly bumps into a passerby, her mind set on investigating Han Feng's hidden stash and confronting him. As Hyuna storms off, someone calls out to her, asking her to wait, causing her to pause. Turning around, she recognizes the person and responds with a hint of familiarity, masking her frustration as she prepares for the unexpected encounter. This is the end of the video. If you guys want to see the next part, then don't forget to subscribe and like the video.